In exactly 24 hours from now, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard on July 31st, I will be giving silver away to two different people. I'm doing my 47,000 subscriber silver giveaway. If you want a chance to win, which trust me you do, click subscribe, but also click the bell so you get notified when the entry video gets posted tomorrow, or you might miss it. With that said, let's jump in this video. Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer and welcome to my daily 5 p.m. video. Thank you for tuning in. We have something special today, folks. This is going to be a great video. David Morgan from the Morgan Report is going to be interviewed talking about the silver supply shortage, right? This is very interesting because the man himself is going to be looking at this and there's going to be so much said, and we're actually going to be watching the video together, right? We're not just covering an article. We're going to watch this thing, and I'm going to cover the main points, and I might pause the video at some places and throw in my 2 cents, and I would love for you to participate as well. A lot of you know a lot of stuff, know a lot more than I do, right? I mean, this could be such a good video. This could be such an educational video. This is an important video as well. We haven't heard someone of this nature talk about it. I mean, we heard the U.S. Mint admit it. I guess the former U.S. Mint director talked about it, but this is going to be different. He's really gonna break this down, and I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. Make sure you like the video as well so this gets recommended to more stackers, because I do think people need to see this. Let's look what they have to say.
Hey, David, welcome to the dive.
Well, thank you.
So, David, after years of being overshadowed by gold, silver recently made headlines and is getting caught up in the Wall Street bets frenzy. What were your thoughts at the time? And do you see this movement continuing to gain momentum?
Well, I was delighted, but my initial thought was it's not going to last very long. I don't think these people have conviction. Doing something in the silver market's a lot different than doing what Wall Street bets did that morphed into the Wall Street silver, meaning, a stock that's heavily shorted and over shorted because of the options market. That's a whole different story than going to the silver market. So I'm, proven wrong, which I'm very, very happy. Further comment, Sandra, would be that I wrote an article and did several lectures, 3 of them, about what if silver were treated like gold. And one of the more important parts about that story is one, recognition. So the Wall Street silver crowd has definitely brought silver's attention to a lot of people with their billboard campaign, and of course the growth rate of that Reddit subgroup. On top of that, there's a synergy there, which means like there's more Twitter feeds, there's more Facebooks, there's more YouTubes. So all this thing plays together. So silver is really getting a lot of exposure now, which is what is needed, because the mainstream financial markets never really talk about gold very often and seldom talk about silver. In my 20 plus year career, when silver was the best asset you could own on a commodity basis, I was on TV like 3 or 4 times, not counting Fox Business. They had me on weekly for probably half a year or so.
Very cool. So, there's been a lot of talk about a possible global silver shortage. Do you see this scenario playing out anytime soon?
That's a tough one. It's so difficult to know exactly how much silver is, you know, available. It's kind of like the float in the stock. I mean, there could be a large amount of stock outstanding, but it's so tightly held and no one wants to sell it that's irrespective of what the float is, how much is available to actually be purchased. So same thing in the silver market. It's a very tight market, much tighter than what the price would reflect right now, Cassandra. On top of that, there's a shortage for the semiconductor market. And I'm not saying silver is it, but it is a 44 million ounce per year market, which is greater than all of the silver eagles minted in a year, or the silver maples. It's more than what goes into like a DVD player. So it's interesting that it could, I'm not saying would, have some effect in that, but no one has stated that. And I'm just thinking out loud we will see a day where silver is really hard to obtain, both on the investment side and I believe at the same time, or very closely at the same time, on the industrial side. So the really smart industrial users like Samsung have already got a relationship with Avino Mines to buy direct from the mine. Why? They don't want to be short on silver to keep in business.
So wow, a lot of good stuff has already been talked about. I'm in love with this interview so far. Probably the best interview I've covered in a long time on this channel. He covers some great points. I really like the way this guy thinks, and she's a great interviewer, by the way, as well. So first thing was talked about is the Wall Street silver thing, and I like how he has an open mind. He's not closed-minded like a lot of people. Oh, they're just gonna try to do this, and he admitted, like maybe it started from a certain angle, but it's transformed into something completely different. And now you see these billboards, and they're putting silver on the map, right? Especially with the amount of attention they're giving all these people. And I mean, they already have 140,000 members within a couple of months. Think in a couple of years, have hundreds of thousands of people all talking about stacking silver. And the next point was going into the global supply shortage. And I completely get it. It's hard to tell. But he made a lot of good points, right? With a lot of these industrial applications, as silver becomes more scarce, if they want to keep their businesses open, they need to start investing now. Look at Elon Musk with Tesla, with SpaceX. I mean, everything he owns, all the companies he runs, heavily uses silver. So he would be silly to not be buying a lot of silver right now. He's a smart guy. He's in the investment game. He's talked about gold before. He knows what's going on. If he is buying silver, he would be doing it under the rug though. I mean, if he tweeted 4 letters, DOGE, Doge, and it shot Dogecoin up thousands of percent. So if he talked about silver right now, what would happen? Silver would skyrocket and he would have to pay a lot more. But the point is, all of these things, whether it's 5G towers, whether it's electric vehicles, whether it's solar panels, whether it's these semiconductors, whether it's silver lithium ion batteries, whatever it is, these companies need silver. We want silver, they need it. There's a difference. The producers turn into the consumers turn into the producers, right? The people that need the silver will be buying it off the people that want the silver. And he even mentioned that it's going to be harder to get your hands on it as people keep holding it. The people like you and I, right? Miners can't keep up with the amount of demand. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, there's a lot to this, and I'm excited to keep going on.
Makes sense. It's also undeniable that individuals and businesses are interested in and willing to convert to a more environmentally friendly energy source. Is silver a crucial component of the green revolution discussions?
Absolutely. And almost everybody's familiar with photovoltaics or solar panels. That's one. Water purification never really gets mentioned. I mean, really think about it. What's more critical than the water? Air. Air is about more critical, but other than that, it's water. And silver is crucial in water purification. You also have a lot of components that can be used, like in the food industry. Silver impregnated plastics or wraps that no one talks about or even knows about. It's not at the nano level, but it's very small, fine, and keeps food fresher longer. In the medical industry, all kinds of things are silver based due to the biogenic properties of silver. It's a natural biocide. So there's a lot in the green situation, sanitary things. Further, to go back to the what I'll call the 19 or illness, it was rumored, and I can't prove it, but I think it's worth a couple minutes. The Chinese were shown spraying this fine mist around public offices, public subway stations, stuff like that. And it was rumored that that was a silver-based or colloidal silver type of solution. And I wouldn't doubt it. Silver will kill pathogens that some antibiotics can't do. So, lots of the silver green story, a lot more than just solar panels.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so on a larger scale, given the extreme stimulus spending and monetary expansionism we saw, Why do you think it is that so many mainstream investors and experts remain unconcerned about inflation risk? What is your own outlook?
Well, my own outlook is playing it safe, which means stagflation. That's where things that we need cost more and more, like food and energy. Things that we don't need, like a larger screen TV or maybe the next generation of smartphone, probably doesn't have quite as strong a market, although that's debatable. So I think that's the safest bet. We will see inflation in a lot of areas, food primarily. That has to do with it has to do with the increase in money supply, but primarily it has to do with supply demand imbalances. And then energy is sort of the same story, but the idea is that the two most critical things to humans are food and energy, and those are both going to go up, up, and up. So people have the mindset of inflation, which is more important than the money supply. The real psychology is what really triggers inflation. It's when the masses decide that the money that they have in their pocket's going to be worth less next week or next month, and they want to spend it in a hurry because they fear what its purchasing power will become in a short order. So that's the phenomena that's starting to take hold now. Once it's turned on, it's very difficult to turn it back off.
Mhm. So, something we hear from time to time is that Bitcoiners are the new gold bugs. Do you think Bitcoin has stolen some of the thunder from precious metals?
There's no doubt it's stolen some. I mean, I have anecdotal evidence. I'll just give you one quickly, but a bullion dealer that I'm very close to, I'm close to very many of them, but in Canada, and this fellow pulled up with his pickup truck full of monster boxes. That's 500 ounces of silver coins from a government mint. And he cashed us all in and bought Bitcoin at some, let's see, very low price relative to where it's been. And then after it made a, I don't know what it was, 6, 10 fold move, he motored back with his Bitcoin wallet and had to fill up his truck about 4 times and put it back into silver. So yeah, it does definitely have an effect. How big, that's hard to measure.
So, we have to ask, where do you see the silver market over the near and short term?
Well, a lot of people accuse me of being a perma bull, but I'm really not. I've called the top in the silver market at each major top all the way up. Hopefully, I'll get the biggest one, which I believe is ahead of us. I think we're going to be trading sideways in a trading range till August. Seasonality is gold's best time to buy historically is in August. It's a probability. It's not a guarantee, but I think that's what we'll see. I think we'll see strength by the end of the year. I do expect to see silver over $30 on the spot or cash market by the end of the year, probably higher. And then longer term, I still think what I've been saying for years and years is somewhat true, which means 90% of the move comes in the last 10% of the time. That's why David Smith and I wrote the book Second Chance, because a lot of people think that they missed out when silver went from the last financial crisis from $9 to $50. And they think, oh, geez, it's at 25 now. I missed out. No, I don't think so. We got, about a 5 bagger in a year and a half or so in the last financial crisis. This time, it wouldn't surprise me to see a 10 bagger. So if you take the March low of 2020 at 12 and you multiply it by 10, you get $120 silver. And I don't think that's out of the question with all that's going on and people waking up to the facts surrounding everything. I mean, the corruption in politics, corruption in, I can talk about weather, I can talk about food, I can talk about water, talk about the illness. We're really getting the straight facts. I'm not in denial about it, but I'm also a truther. And it's what's the real truth? What's the death rate? What are these antigens that we have that can actually do as well as maybe something that's experimental? I mean, there's a lot of questions, and I've always looked at life from don't believe everything you read, don't believe everything you hear, and question authority. So I'm just one of those rebels. I just can't help it.
Wow, what a great interview. There was so much compacted substance. I didn't even want to pause it and throw my 2 cents in. I just wanted it to play through. I mean, at first, talking about the colloidal silver, how they were spraying it around because it's antimicrobial properties, right? I mean, if you drop a silver coin in water, it purifies the water. Drop it in a gallon of milk, keeps the milk fresh longer. I mean, silver has so many things going for it. But wow, I mean, where do I even start? I mean, first we go into Bitcoin. Yes, a lot of I guess people do go into Bitcoin, but like you said, the guy then uses the profits from Bitcoin to reinvest back into precious metals. And that's okay. Investors, I mean, if you stack silver, you're an investor to some extent. And investors, they take opportunity. And if there's opportunity with Bitcoin, especially since Bitcoin has the same type of I guess motto as silver, we're taking control of our own wealth, right? We're taking the money out of fiat and we're taking complete control. And Bitcoin essentially is also taking the power away from them and putting it in your own hands, right? So Bitcoin and precious metals are similar in a lot of instances, and I wouldn't even try to compare them. I would more like to put those in the same type of category. Bitcoin is just digital. If you can't hold it, you don't own it. So silver is a lot safer, but Bitcoin has the same type of idea. Now, what else? I mean, there was so much talked about in this. I do see, and I love how he threw out the $150 silver. And here's the thing. He said $30 silver, but he also said he thinks it'll be higher by the end of the year. Now, if we're talking about $30 plus silver by the end of the year, and then going into 2022, obviously, I don't see it dipping below that, then these will literally be the last chances to buy silver at 25. And I couldn't ever see it after it hits 30 plus and goes up to 40. I could never see it going back down to 25 anytime soon. So this literally might be our last chance to be buying silver at these prices. In a couple of years, I bet we'll be wishing we could build a time capsule and go back to this time where we could buy silver for $25 an ounce. And yes, a lot of people are going to be buying silver at $50 plus, and they're going to be looking at us and be jealous because we got in before the curve. Most people get in after. And I love how he mentioned the psychological aspect of it. There is a huge psychological aspect to investing. I mean, think about it. You perceive something, and that translates into the decisions you make, and the decisions you make is how successful you'll be. So if you're someone who's very anxious, very worried, very antsy, do you think you're going to have as solid of a stacking strategy as someone who's cool, calm, collect, right? No. So you definitely have to try to take the emotional involvement out of it as well. So when he's talking about $150 plus silver, I definitely don't think that's crazy. And he's even one who's to be more modest on silver, like he said. So yeah, I mean, if you want to call me a silver pumper for saying that silver is going to be, I made a video the other day, actually yesterday, talking about $100 silver, but when, and I wasn't even the one talking about $100 silver. I was covering a video that was talking about triple digit silver. But people still like to say that I'm a silver pumper. Regardless, that's besides the point. If you don't think silver is worth $100, then you shouldn't be investing, because that means you don't understand the real value. Also means you don't understand the true value of a dollar. Now, inflation, yes. Things are going to cost more and more because we're pumping out money, weakening the dollar. And yes, I could see what he means. Food and fuel will most likely be the ones that have the most dramatic effect, because that's what people need, right? But you still got to remember, at the end of the day, silver is always going to be worth silver. Silver's value is the metal inside of it, not the price tag attached to it. No matter who says that 1 ounce coin is worth what is irrelevant. The price, the value of that silver is the metal inside of it. But I do see spot price rising. And that's because, and he even said it at the end of the article, if you want to talk about crazy high silver prices, we're living in crazy times. If silver was to ever hit $100, now would be the time for that to happen. Look at what we're living in right now, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. It's kind of getting lengthy. I thought this was a great interview. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like it. Also, make sure to subscribe and click the bell, because my giveaway is coming right around the corner 24 hours from now. Don't miss it. Thanks for tuning in. The link to this interview will be in the description. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.